everyone, welcome back to Voidheart Studios, and today I'm going to be doing another nostalgia review. A nostalgia review is where I take a look at a discontinued and often old blaster under the lens of a modern nerfer, and take a look at what potential it might have in the modern nerfing scene in any particular power bracket. Sorry, my allergies are acting up. And also discuss some speculations as well, and just generally have a good time. Now for our review today, imagine Space Year 2014. Nerf keeps getting better and better. Elite is having success after success. Zombie Strike released a year prior to thunderous applause. And you're wandering your local big box retailer not knowing what awaits. Until you see, taking a commanding amount of space, it's big, red, the longest Nerf blaster ever, the Nerf Mega Centurion. The Centurion was released in 2014 as part of the Nerf Mega series. It was actually the first blaster in the Nerf Mega series. And it is a spring-powered, side-prime, magazine-fed Mega Blaster. And it is gorgeous. I'm probably not even fitting the whole thing in frame right now, just because this thing is absolutely massive. I mean, yeah. So, yeah, that gets all the fanfare done with. Let's move on to the overview. Starting up at the front, there's no end strike barrel lug. This blaster is a Mega Blaster. Mega darts don't really fit through Elite faux barrels on account of them being almost double the size, almost double the diameter. Moving back from there, you have a front iron sight, which corresponds with a rear iron sight right here, which is far too low on the blaster to actually aim through. Like, you have to hold this blaster very uncomfortably to be able to actually use those sights. Back here is a tactical rail, which is where I would put the included bipod that came with the Centurion, if I had one. I do not. Sadly, this is not a complete Centurion review, but whatever. A bipod's a bipod. I have other Nerf bipods I can use if I wanted to use a bipod on this thing. Up at the top and bottom here are some sling hook points that correspond with some sling hook points at the top and bottom on the back of the blaster. So you have multiple different ways you can actually sling this thing, which is great. Now this whole front barrel piece came detached for shipping purposes, and once you attach it, it is not designed to come off. The blaster is also designed to not operate until this is attached, so you're kind of screwed unless you modify it, because you can't just rip it off either. It's locked in there good. Going back from here, you have the magazine well and the jam clearing door. You can pull back the jam door to get your fingers in there to clear out any jams or malfunctions. And the magazine well, you can strike the magazine release back here, which will then allow you to pull out your 6-round Mega Magazine. This is what came with the Centurion. There are more different capacities. There was a 10-round mag that came with the Mega Moto Strike, and then Busby released 2 Mega Blasters that came with a 3-round mag and a 12-round mag. More on those later. put the mag back in, and notice something different. The bolt's still forward. The blaster is unprimed. This blaster rests on an open bolt. Now, unlike most Nerf springers, like the Recon here, they rest on a closed bolt, which means if you want to load in a magazine, you cannot do so when the blaster is not primed. You have to pull back the slide, then put in your mag, and then close the slide. Whereas the Centurion is in its resting state, which is after being fired but before being primed, with the bolt open. And I'll try to show you what it does here, but when you pull back the priming handle, the bolt then pushes forward and closes on the dart as the spring is being primed back. And then when you return the bolt handle, the blaster fires, and then the thing. It's more clear when you dry fire it. So, listen. Did you hear it make two different sounds? The first sound was the spring actually firing, and the second sound was that bolt assembly slamming back into the rear of the blaster. It's ridiculously over-engineered. And it also serves to create a sort of simulated recoil, which I'm just a sucker for. I love stupid features like that. Yeah. Of course, going back to the priming handle, despite all that, the prime is very smooth. It is also very long. This blaster, according to Google, I haven't measured it myself, but according to Google, this blaster has a 13-inch prime stroke, which is ridiculous. Because the Caliburn, one of the most powerful 3D printed blasters ever, has, I think, a 10-inch prime stroke. Or an 11-inch prime stroke. I can't remember. This thing feels like you are readying an anti-material rifle, which is kind of what it's meant to convey. Mega was the big caliber, the high caliber. This is the big bore, the original big bore rifle. So, yeah. Going back behind the absolutely massive priming handle, you have the top tactical rail, which allows you to mount an optic, or, you know, just a Nerf sight. This is an end strike rail, so it's not going to be the most secure of connections, but it's there. It's there for when you want it, obviously. Moving down from here, you have the grip and the trigger. It's a very nice... It's a very nice trigger. It's you know, the trigger you find on an early Hasbro blaster. It's nice. It's clicky. It feels good in the hands. And I do enjoy. I do enjoy the Centurion trigger. Going back from that, you have the stock. It is a thumbhole stock, and thumbhole stocks are typically more restrictive on the wrist. But for a big, giant sniper anti-material rifle thing like this, it's fine. It's perfectly fine. I mean, I don't need super mobile wrists when I'm whipping around a blaster that's over 3 feet long. It's almost 4 feet long, I think. Well, I'd have to measure it up compared to like my Mark IV, but yeah, this thing is huge. if I haven't already iterated it enough. And the stock is very comfortable. The length of pull is nice. Though, with how far forward the bolt handle is, like, I'm already almost fully extending my left arm for that bolt handle to grab it, and then pulling it back here, which really scrunches up my arm, and then pushing it all the way forward. And I'm almost 6 feet tall. I'm 5'11". And this is a long, like, this is... I don't want to call it cumbersome, but it's very long. It's very far forward, and it's a very long stroke, because it comes almost to the very back of the stock. But the blaster is proportioned very nicely. It feels good to operate despite that. And with that, I feel like that covers really everything in terms of the overview. Let's take it out to the range and fire it. Alright, I'm out on the range with the Centurion. Let's plink. First up, we've got some Ray Squad knockoff Mega Darts, because all of my Nerf Mega Darts are, well, dead and gone. So, alright. There we go. I hit 2 out of the 6. Next up are some NF Strike Whirlwind Megas. Let's hope these will be a little more accurate. Would have went there too. Oh, not one more. Bit shorter on the range, a bit heavier. Not to mention it's kind of humid out here because it's kind of a break between rain. I don't know why it's rainy and cool. It's June in Texas. What the hell? Anyways, just to end us off, a big 10-round mag of more Ray Squad. I'm going to absolutely not hit anything. Two. What do I got left? Last one. Go high and long. Yeah. Almost a good 80-foot shot there. Yeah, this is, that's the Centurion. This thing is gobloads of fun. I love it. Alright. I'm gonna clean up, before it starts raining again. And then we'll go back inside and we'll talk about this gigantic, glorious thing. Alright, we are back inside with the Centurion. Let's talk about it. Starting off with the practical stuff, the FPS. I put this blaster over the chronograph at my group's meetup yesterday, and I achieved an average velocity of 75 FPS over the over my remembrance of the readings that I got. I think my lowest was 68 and my highest was 81. And so yeah, an average of 75 FPS isn't bad for a Mega Blaster. Especially one that's reverse plunger. This blaster, from 2014, post N-Strike, is reverse plunger. This doesn't bode well. In terms of practicality's sake, this blaster kinda sucks. As much as I absolutely hate to say it, in terms of practicality and mod potential and just about everything else except for, you know, not everything else, but like in terms of practicality, you know, mod potential, footprint, quality control, this blaster is a mess. I'm glad I got a good Centurion, because that means I can use it. But some people have had Centurions that shoot maybe 40 FPS, 40 or 50. Which, quite frankly, for a blaster this large, from 2014, and it's meant to be a primary of sorts, is not quite acceptable. In terms of most of the hobbies, light. I would still have fun plinking with it, but I probably wouldn't even use something this big as a primary if it hit under 60 FPS. And, yeah, it's big. It's unwieldy for most. The faux barrel is ridiculous. It has probably an insane amount of barrel drag going on in terms of just how long the barrel is. Like, this puts the long strike barrel to shame. When you have a blaster that emasculates the long strike, the blaster that's literally named after the fact that it was the longest Nerf blaster at the time, you've got a problem. And of course, this isn't like modern day, like, printed and highly modified half-dart blasters, where having a long barrel actually helps your performance, within reason, depending on how long it is. When it comes to stock Nerf blasters and how they work, this barrel is not a sealed compression barrel that's keeping the air behind the dart and pushing it farther and pushing it faster and giving it more buildup. This is a compression barrel. Or this is not a compression barrel, this is a faux barrel. This is just a big, way open tube that the dart just kind of flies through with the energy that it got from the breach. And there is potential for the dart to kind of bounce around in there, or, you know, just the concavity itself and the air going around the dart to cause drag and more air resistance. So yeah, this blaster without this long barrel could hit well into the 80s, I'm sure. But of course it doesn't work without the barrel, because it has to be the big long mega sniper rifle that shoots 75 FPS. And with it being reverse plunger and having basically all of the internals in a massive block that is just so solvent welded tight together, it's almost impossible to mod. It is almost impossible to modify this blaster. And I hate saying that, because look at it. It's so badass. Like, a blaster, like, having a blaster this big on you just makes you feel badass. It's the same feeling you get from, like, the Stampede, or the Nemesis, or the Prometheus, or the Caliburn, or the Moose 2. It feels so cool to have a big, long, chunky blaster. And especially with the simulated recoil, just go dunk. You feel it. You feel every function of this blaster, and I love that. I can feel every moving part in this blaster, and it's so nice, which makes me so angry that it sucks. I love this blaster. I am a person in this hobby. I am a statistical outlier when it comes to this hobby. Everybody in this hobby has very high standards, and that's a good thing. It's a good thing to have high standards. You know, people in the hobby have high standards to the point where something that hits, under 150 FPS could just be considered horrible by somebody. Or something that has flaws, like the Centurion, being unmoddable and having gobs upon gobs of barrel drag and a stupid, inefficient, why are you seizing up? Oh, I guess I just wasn't pulling hard enough. And a stupid, inefficient 13-inch draw length and an over-engineered system. It's like, people hate that. People hate the Centurion because of what it is, and I get that. I understand it. I don't have any issues with people disliking the Centurion. But that doesn't stop me from loving it. And I will point out a blaster's objective flaws. The performance isn't great. The barrel drag is ridiculous. The fact that it can't be modded is quite frankly infuriating, because if I could get this thing to hit 150 FPS with Mega off like K25 and give it a sealed breach and essentially make this thing a sleeping Mega Burn, I would be ecstatic. But you can't. Unless you essentially just replace the internals with the internals of a B variant Mega Burn. At that point, it's just kind of boring. Because at that point, you don't have a Centurion anymore. You have a B variant Mega Burn dressed as a Centurion. Because you no longer have the stupid long side prime. And you no longer have, the features that make the Centurion unique. But it's understandable. Notes on magazines. You are not stuck to 6. This is a knockoff, kind of Chinese bootleg, but it can take Moto Strike style 10-round magazines. And it can also take the Busby magazines. So you've got mag capacity options for your Centurion if you do enjoy the blaster as much as I do. But if you want a more practical Mega Primary, I would go for the Roto Fury or the Megalodon, because as much as I love the Centurion, I do recognize its flaws, and I cannot tell you in good faith that this is a practical blaster. Now, that didn't stop me from running it at my group's meetup yesterday, and the reason why I'm reviewing it so soon after getting it is because if I field it, I deem it, you know, worthy of review in kind of as kind of a substitute to my normal testing process. And I fielded it, and I got multiple tags with it. I think I got probably... I didn't play very well, but I got a good 3 or 4 tags with it in the last couple of rounds of small squad kill confirmed we played. And it was a good blaster. Or it ran well for me. But I can look at a blaster, see its flaws, and still enjoy it despite that. And if you are the same type of person, I would recommend you look for one of these. Because it's very fun despite its flaws. I'm sure you could find them relatively easy on the thrifting market. I don't know about, you know, like eBay. I think they're rare and stupid expensive on eBay. But Goodwill, you might be able to find them at Goodwill. Who knows? But yeah. It's time for speculation. What if I were in the shoes of John Hasbro and I were in charge of making Centurion 2.0? What would I do? I would make it a normal-ass mag-fed blaster. As fun as the simulated recoil of this system is, it limits it. It limits it. And the system is probably why it's reverse plunger in the first place. So if I were John Hasbro and I were making Centurion 2.0, I would make it direct plunger, I would make it a regular mag-fed Mega Blaster, I would probably shorten the draw, and I would make the bore of the faux barrel bigger. I would keep the faux barrel, but I would make the bore larger so it doesn't have as much barrel drag despite the length. And I would make the thing come with a scope. It never came with any sort of sight. Despite being the sniper rifle, it didn't come with a sight. So people were basically just using their long shot scopes on it if they wanted to use a Centurion as a fully gussied up sniper rifle. But yeah. Now that that's done and over with, that is my concluded nostalgia review of the Nerf N-Strike Mega Centurion. I really hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe and comment your favorite thing about the Centurion. And I will see you all in the next one. And until then, have a good one.